I'm Connor Northrup, and I'm joined by UFC lightweight Joe Solecki. What's going on, Joe? How you been?
I'm good, man. Just like we were just kind of talking about, just weathering this quarantine and this virus and all that. Still trying to do what we can, but I'm good.
Yeah, and I know you said you were at the gym earlier today too. I mean, is that how you've been spending a lot of your time, during this period?
Yeah, so we're just trying to abide by what we're being told to do, and definitely trying to do the right thing and not spread it to anybody or anything like that or anything like that. So all of our classes are canceled, our gym's closed. We're still able to do, just the pros. There's only two of us, three of us, so we're able to get together still. With the thought process being, we've been around each other, sweating on each other for the last 3-4 months anyway, so we're not going anywhere else. But we're still able to train some, which is good. We're just cramming everything into one giant session every day instead of going home, resting, coming back. So, if anything, it's been a little harder lately because I got John Salter beat me up every single day. Yeah, not fun, but able to do it. And then after that, just working from home, meeting up, hitting some pads. I bought like a bike for the house. I'm running, sandbags, all kinds of stuff. So, if anything, my cardio is going to go up because I'm doing more of that and less like maybe at night. Normally, I'd go back and do gi jiu-jitsu or something in the class. Instead, I'm actually working on cardio or strength. So, if anything, a nice break from the norm, but really tough work still. So we're good down here, best we can.
Yeah, and like, how long have you been kind of training like that?
About 2 weeks, or I think 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks and some change maybe. So not too long, but long enough. I'm ready to get back.
Yeah.
Sure. Who knows when that'll be, but
Yeah. Do you feel like it will kind of, now that you have done for 2 weeks, do you feel like it will be kind of like a weird transition going back into it, or is it something that you've done for so long that it will kind of just fall into place?
No, I think it'll be good because so for me, like when I do my camp, it's all over the place. So we're in Wilmington, North Carolina. That's my home base at Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu. And then every week I go down to Fitness Edge MMA to work with my boxing coach and to spar with some of those guys, Cody Jones and the guys down there. That's where I used to train before I moved to Wilmington.
Yeah.
And then every Thursday, Friday, I go to Charlotte, which is our home base for MMA. Our MMA coach, Jeff Jimmo, at Jim O in Charlotte with all those great guys there. And those are all spread out. Like Charlotte's 4 hours from where I live. Myrtle Beach is 90 minutes. So 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week, I sleep away from home. And if anything, this was a nice break from that because I fought in December. And then Scott Holtzman was fighting in February. So I kind of hopped into his camp to be a body for him and was away from home again. So if anything, nice break from the norm. And then when it's time to go again, it'll be, instead of maybe getting in the car like, oh, another 4-hour drive, it'll be like, all right, like we missed this, So it'll be good to hop back into the swing of things.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of fighters too. Some of them are kind of like waiting out, taking breaks. But I mean, it seems like on Twitter you've been, pretty open about that. You want to fight. I mean, how eager are you to get in there at this time?
Yeah, I'm chomping at the bit for multiple reasons. This is our job, so and we it's no secret that we get paid to fight and per fight. So financially, it just makes sense to fight. We want to fight 2 to 3 times a year is standard. The other thing is I'm competitive. I came up in jiu-jitsu where I was competing at least twice a month, all through since my teens. So without a goal, even though I'm going to still train as hard as I can, I don't know what to do with myself. I love to compete. I love to fight. This isn't like something I just found and was like, oh, I'm good at it. Like I wasn't good at it at the start. I love to compete, so I had to get good at it. And then the other thing is my wife and I are having a baby soon in September. So this was a really good year for us, just being able to finally get signed to the UFC, have that steady job, for lack of a better term, the UFC, a couple bad performances, you could be gone, but it was a good year for us to kind of really make up for all the time that we were like struggling, so with the baby on the way, I just like to get I wanted to fight twice before she came, or at least maybe once, and then time it where I'd have some time home to be home for all of that and then get back into the swing. So, yeah, every chance that comes, I'll be ready for it. I was actually texting with Sean Shelby today. As a nobody, I was kind of shocked I got a response, but everything's still on time, it sounds like, from what I was told. So the same timeline I had since the last fight will be intact, or late spring, early summer, I'll still be getting the call up. So as long as I know that, it makes training a lot easier. It makes this whole quarantine process a lot easier because I'm still going to be in shape. I'm still ready. I'm ready to fight right now. But I was just worried about, like, are there going to be fights to be had? Now that we know that, and that I'm still not, that I'm still on the timeline, I'm good to go. I'm not stressed as much. And now I can worry just about training instead of, all the hoopla. I'm watching, the president's press conferences every day. Like, I'm not a super political person. You know, I try to
Mhm.
keep in touch just enough to not be out of touch with reality. But I've been glued to my phone following all this because I'm just worried about when the country is going to be up and running, or if it is, or if more people are sick and dying, or, you know. So I'm just trying to find out what's going on. It's been stressing me out like crazy. But now that I know fights are back and up and rolling, and I'll be considered for them, I'm good. I can just worry about training.
Yeah, and congrats on the news too. Of your
Thank
child.
you,
I think I
man.
saw on Facebook it's September.
Yeah, September. Yeah, thank you
All
very,
right,
very
cool.
much. We're super pumped about that. So yeah, I can't
Yeah,
wait.
that's great.
Another thing I got to try and get a black belt in here is parenting. You know, still trying to master all the other arts, and now I got to throw that in. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you just want to get in there and fight too. I mean, I know yesterday they were kind of saying that news broke out that Dana's got a location West Coast apparently, and also about these like private islands. I mean, like
Yeah.
as a fighter too on the roster, I mean, like what's your opinion on that? And are you
Yeah,
open to going to those locations?
I think that's amazing. You know, and that was the one thing that I was telling my wife during all this. Was, I was like, with everything going on, we just have to take solace in the fact that I work for an absolute go-getter in Dana White, and people are going to have their opinions on what's right and what's wrong, and I totally understand that, and this is affecting so many people all over the world. But if they're going to do it the right way, which he came out and said yesterday, they're going to do everything exactly the way they should, then there's no harm. There's not going to be a crowd. Even if we need it like they're doing with baseball, we trained with a couple guys at Hudson Rose Athletics that are in the MLB, and like they were talking about how they're going to quarantine them for a couple of months. Even if we had to do something like that, I think for the large majority of us, our families would be fine with that. If we had to stay away from home for 2 months or something. So just the fact they're making it a possibility and making this happen is absolutely amazing. And it is cool too. I was just saying that I was talking to one of my coaches and training partners, John Salter. I was like, hey, he said maybe May, June, which means we still might get to go to the island, because I want to be a part of history too. If they're only going to do that for 2-3 months, I definitely want to be one of the guys to get to go there, not know where you're going. It's just something out of a movie, and it's just another thing that makes this crazy job a little more interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one thing that a lot of people aren't talking about either is, it is kind of crazy that Dana White is going through this, but like he's also not making anyone go on the cards anyway. Like a lot of the guys, the ones that are fighting are the ones that want to be there. So I mean, I think in that case, it's like.
Yeah, and you can see like Conor McGregor posted, he's quarantining, he's staying in an island, he's not going to do anything, as he should. He's made a fantastic living, and he doesn't need to fight. He fights once a year, and the whole world tunes in. For the other guys in the roster, it's not. We don't all have that luxury, and we're still trying to get to that level. It's a very rare level people attain, but people want to, provide for their families and get the chance to compete. And also, with no sports being on, it's a great time to have some extra exposure and to be a little bit of light and so much negativity that's going around. If you can be on that card next weekend, people are going to watch that, and for 3 hours, they're going to forget what's going on maybe, or at least put it in the back of their mind. So I think there's a lot of motivations for guys trying to get on these cards. And like you said, no one's forcing you to do it. And that's the one thing is, people aren't talking about that enough, is that email the UFC sent out to all the fighters, managers, etc. If you're feeling sick, if you don't feel safe doing this, by all means, you're not, it's not going to be held against you. And, we're independent contractors. We have the right to say no. And that, nobody's doing that because fighters fight and we want to fight.
Yeah. Is there any worry for you too going into a fight like this where maybe you don't have your normal circumstances where you have everyone in the gym and things like that? Is that something you thought about?
Yeah. So we were talking about it today, and I've been talking about it, before I knew a timeline even, was like I was trying to get on when they were trying to do the March 28th card, or the whenever the Columbus card. They sent out a last minute call for anybody last minute, and my manager put in for that as well. No, because it's an even playing field. It's a level playing field. And I really think with the situation we have right now and the part of the country that we live in right now, and the fact that I get to be an instructor at the gym that we train at, and we have to go in still to check on things and to, film instructionals for the students and stuff. So that's our chance to stay training. And the fact that I get to train with John Salter every day, who is world class. He's one of the very, very best in the world, and bigger and stronger than me, and been there, done that, 10 years older than me. So, I'm way better off than a lot of people right now, I think. Some guys are stuck completely in their house all day long. Or, maybe they're the best guy at their gym or something like that. That's not the case for me, so I'm still learning, still getting better. I'm able to keep in touch with my other coaches. And, I think, if anything, this would favor me because I was saying with the March 28th card, when they sent out that email that morning, it was a Sunday. I got up, I went for a really long run, and I was literally thinking the entire time, like, this is the time that staying ready all year long since I was 14 is going to pay off. Running when I didn't want to run and doing burpees in the basement as a kid and all that. And it didn't, and that's fine. But if it were to happen now, I think that's exactly it. I haven't taken off since my teens, and I won't. So if anything, I think I'll be ahead of the game, and it's a fair fight. And as long as it's a fair fight, that's all you can ask for. It doesn't matter if I'm peaked, if I'm not, if it's up a weight class. If the other guy's going through the same circumstances, then it's a fair fight. And if I can't win a fair fight, that's just on me. And that other guy's just better.
Mm-hmm. And also too, I mean, the fact that you earned a finish on Contender Series, you beat a pretty seasoned guy in Wyman as well in your last fight. I mean, does a lot of this too kind of feel like about momentum and kind of keeping that momentum?
Yes and no. Like I was talking about that with one of my coaches as well. It was like, I don't want to go too long and get ring rust like they talk about and all that. But at the same time, I think I've had, let's see, it's almost 5 months since the fight, or it'll be 5 months, May 7th. So that's, as a young guy, I think more time is better. I want to stay active and I want to climb the ranks and all that. But at the rate that I'm able to get better right now with all the guys that I'm around, going up after the last fight and getting to train with, Scott Holtzman during his camp and stuff. And he's still taking time while he's in camp to show me all these veteran tricks and all the things that he's accumulated. John, every single day I have access to him. All those guys, my coach, Jeff Jimmo, Chris Gow, my boxing coach. I feel like with all those people around me, I get better every month, so a 6-7 month layoff, as much as it might stop momentum, like I said, it's a nice rest getting to be at home, and I get to come in as a better fighter. I think sometimes when we're just on that fight, rest, you're just coming out the same guy and a little burnt out every time or watered down. But this is, I think, maybe a little blessing in disguise, as much as it can be. It's never a good thing what's going on right now, but as much as there's going to be a silver lining, that is it for me. That and the fact that I went on the Contender Series, and that was huge. I'm looking forward to that. Big opportunity. I get it, and I win. Oh, okay, well, I still have my first UFC fight to look at. That's going to be exciting. But then after that, it'd almost be easy to go, just another fight now, now. Forget it. There's no chance of that because, when we're away from home or I'm cutting weight or anything that would normally be miserable, I'm going to be like, dude, I am so happy to be at fight week right now. So I think all of it's good. A little break, a little time to get better, to have my coaches really work on the weaknesses. Like, we were going to cram in with my strength and conditioning coach. We're going to do like a strength phase for like 4 weeks, 5 weeks when we thought we were turning around quick. It's been a 10-week cycle now. I got to get stronger and take my time and let some injuries heal and work on some things, and I'll come out better. I went to the PI and got a bunch of tests done, and I was like, I only have like 3 weeks to implement that before I'm back in a full-fledged training camp, and that's not the case now. So, maybe it's what I needed, so we'll see. I'm just going to take it in stride and come back the best I can and absolutely do my best to ignore any ring rust if it does happen to be longer than I expect.
Yeah. And how comfortable have you felt too, like at these stages, the Contender Series, UFC debut? I mean, how comfortable did you feel compared to maybe what you thought going into it?
Yeah, super comfortable. The nerves are always going to be a part of it, and I'm somebody that's always tries to be open about that. I'm very nervous when it's time to fight. Once I start making the walk, I'm good, and I try to stop and smell the roses a little bit, but also I did expect to be here one day and hope to be here. So I watch a lot of stuff, and I love like behind the scenes stuff. I'm kind of a fight fan and a nerd with it. Like I love to study every little embedded. I just watch stuff 5, 6, 7 times over again. And I really think that prepared me a lot. Like walking out to the last fight, when we did like the dry run before we were there, my hands wrapped and all that, and no crowd was there. I looked around at my coach and I'm like, this feels right. When I pictured this as a kid, I didn't picture 1,200 people in an auditorium in South Carolina or in Atlantic City or anywhere else that I fought. I didn't picture the Contender Series with 100 people. I pictured, 20,000 seats in the arena. It feels right. So it's all, I feel like I've taken it all in stride. As much as I get nervous, once we walk out, it's almost like I don't even know that guy that takes over. It's like autopilot. And all of a sudden I'm like fueling off the crowd and not socially awkward and all the things that I am during real time. It doesn't even make sense, but I just think that's like my competitor self. And then as soon as they raise my hand, I go back to being goofy and awkward and nervous and all that crap.
Yeah. And you talk about kind of like being a fight fan too. I mean, do you have any like cool stories or anything that like really stood out to you from like, if time backstage, any like moment where maybe you talked to like a fighter you watched for a long time or a coach or anything like that?
I think the biggest, it was really cool getting there on fight week and seeing the list of names. You know, they walked you through the name list. And he's like, "Do you have a problem with anybody on this in your locker room?" And I was like, "No, I'm the new guy." And he's like, "Over on there," you know. But then I think the biggest was going back to the Performance Institute recently, and then like I was expecting someone to come up and be like, "You're the new guy. You're not allowed to be here," or something like that. Just treat it the same as they're treating everybody else that I've watched on TV for all these years, and that was really cool. Getting to be able to talk to all these people, and you know, my brother was with me, and he was like laughing because like I'm still his kid brother, you know. So like when people were coming up and like almost catering to us, or like, "Oh, do you need this? Do you need that?" He's like, "I can't believe." I'm like, "Dude, I can't either." And I think that was the biggest thing, was like, it's so strange having, you know, being treated on the same level all the people that you watch all these years. And even though I'm like, I think I was on the other day in the unofficial rankings, I was like 69th in the UFC's rankings. Even though I'm 69th, I'm getting treated like the top 10 guys, you know. So that is really, really big, and I don't think I'll ever get used to that. So, which is a good thing, I guess. That'll keep me working hard. But that's the biggest, like, wow, it doesn't feel right. It feels almost surreal.
Yeah.
Like people want to take pictures, or like you answer a message, and I'm like, "Dude, I have 3,000 followers on Instagram. What do you mean you're shocked I answered? Like, thank you for supporting me, you know."
Yeah.
That'll probably never get old either, and I really do appreciate all the support I get. So that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said earlier, you know, you guys are obviously expecting your first child in September. You know, you hear a lot of fighters always say that, you know, when they have their first kid, that, you know, that's always a big change to in their career, another sense of motivation, another mouth to feed. Are you feeling any of that yet?
Yeah, I think the second I heard that heartbeat, you know, everything changed, you know. Absolutely, because now it's bigger than me. You know, I've always thought about this. So, like, I always try to think ahead. And I've always thought about this, you know, and, like, I was always doing this for us to have a family and all that. But now, in, like, times like this especially, you know, this is bigger than my ego wanting to be the champion one day or protect my record or anything like that. Now it's a job first and foremost, you know, and you go to work when you have the chance to work, especially in a time like this, because who knows who's not going to have that soon or one day, God forbid. So that for sure, you know, it's not about me. It's not about if I'm a little off because I don't get to work with my boxing coach every week like I usually do, and I go out and look stupid on TV, and I have to, or I'm going to get a little more tired and have to push through it. It's not about that anymore. You know, it's not about me. It's about my wife and our baby and, you know, their lives. So that I like, because that takes any selfishness out of it. And, you know, when it's you might quit when things get tough. When it's about other people, I don't think you can do that as easily.
Yeah. And one of my last questions too, with all that being said too, and I mean, I know you said that you obviously, you know, want to fight now during this time, but, you know, when this was all kind of first happening, a lot of people didn't know what was going on. The NBA was suspended, all these major sports. I mean, was there a sense of relief when you heard that Dana wanted to, you know, go ahead with this?
To go on with having the shows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because for a while, you know, you start reading things and articles about how, you know, like WME or whatever the company is that bought the UFC, you know, WME, how their Endeavor, sorry. Yeah. How their stock had gone down, one of the top drops on the market, all these things. And you're like, oh, man, like we had talked about it jokingly while we were at strength and conditioning. But like I said to John, I was like, are we going to fight ever again? Or our company's going to go under, you know, like, and it's a funny joke, but it's almost real because, you know, none of us at least actively fighting were around during like the Depression or anything like that. So I don't think we really truly understand how quickly life can change. And all of a sudden, you know, people aren't tuning into pro sports because they're trying to get a job, you know, or whatever it might be. So there was a little panic about that. Like I was looking at my wife, like, hey, do I need to go? Like, I'm not essential, you know, like I don't have a job that's essential. Like you almost think when you're going to be a pro athlete, like, okay, you know, I'm on my first contract. It's not that great, but I'm a pro athlete now. I'll be all right. You're like, oh man, like I'm not. Like that's the first thing to go because that's a luxury, you know. So that was a little scary. Once they announced it, yeah. Last night it was, and I almost like was, thank God, you know, like thank God that we were able to do something to keep doing what we're doing. And for me especially, you know, selfishly, I worked my whole life to get here. So I was just like kind of laughing to myself, like there's a lot worse problems in the world. Trust me. I mean, I know some firsthand for some people that our hearts just go out to, but I was just like, oh, figures. Like I get there, I win my first UFC fight, and it's all over, you know, or whatever. But you know, it is what it is. But I'm definitely relieved that they're up and running, and just thankful for the company, man. They always seem to come through, whether it's a main event drops out during regular times or, you know, finding a way to put us to work during the pandemic is just absolutely amazing. You know, and there's a lot of people criticizing it. I get it, but at the same time, like Luke Thomas has been one of them, like some other people that I follow on social media. And you're like, yeah, but we're all in this together, because you can only write so many articles about. I'm sure you're going through. You can only write so many articles about old fights or about whatever it might be. Eventually, we're gonna need some new stuff, some new highlights, some new stuff to show. We can only show, subscribe to Fight Pass and watch these old fights for so long before people are gonna start wanting to stop. Ratings are gonna go down everywhere. So it's almost like we need to almost keep moving if we can do it safely and healthily without affecting anybody else, which we can if we're on a private island. So I'm just very, very relieved for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's like what we were saying before too. I mean, if you got the guys that are willing to do it, I think that's different too than being like, all right, we're doing this and you have to be on it or something like that. I mean, I think that would be a totally different situation.
Absolutely. I think you're 100% right. And even with the training and stuff, like, by no means are we essential. So, if we're told to stay home, we're going to stay home. But if we're able to get to each other and then go straight home, these are the people that these are the people whose homes we're in every single weekend. Like, our team is really tight knit. So the few of us that are still able to get some work in together, it's, we're sparring, we're still doing our thing. But those are the people that, I sit next to in church every weekend. Like, I sit, the same people that I'm going to sit at each other's houses with and play with their dogs and stuff. So we're keeping it still in-house, no new people, and I'm not going to go anywhere else afterward where, if God forbid one of us are carrying something, I'm going to give it. I'm going to go straight home and go back to the gym and then go straight back home, because, and same thing with students. We don't want to put students' lives in jeopardy or their families' lives. That's insane, but if it's just 2 or 3 of us that have already been sweating on each other for months and already been in close contact for months and stay at each other's house, we got to do what we got to do, So trying to make the best of both worlds without pissing anybody off or making anybody uncomfortable or, flaunting it to people that we're still able to get to a workout or something or go to a park with pets, people that are stuck inside. So, it's hard to please everybody at a time like this because everything's just so crazy, So I think everybody's just kind of hope for the greater good, but not worry about ourselves. I don't mean it like that, but just do what you have to do to best serve your family and then let everybody else, like everybody's just so negative about stuff. And it's almost like, you got to put yourself in other people's shoes, it's kind of tough, even for fighters, like, like, oh, these guys, and the one thing that even like Luke Thomas or some of the guys that have been like anti-holding fights, they have been saying, don't blame the fighters. It's our job to fight. And that is really cool of them. But even Dana, he's got the weight of the world on his back. They just sold for $4.2 billion, they've got to keep up their obligations to ESPN and all that. And as much as he may have a lot more money than a lot of people, his life's just as scaled up. So I think people don't understand, like, that's a lot of stress still, or whatever, or whoever it might be. Like, even with the president, man, like, I'm not political. I don't side. I'm not going to, I'm not. But people are going like, I can do a better job than this guy. It's like, well, someone might be able to, but I don't think you're the guy. Like, I'm definitely not, So I think people just need to relax a little bit, and we got to do what we're told, just like a fight. And kind of, if we're told to stay in, we'll stay in. If we're told to do this, do that. If we're told we can do A, B, and C, and going, like we talk to the police here and the government, like going to the gym privately is okay if you're working the gym. Maybe don't call the cops on us, like stuff like that. So I don't know. It is what it is. It's a crazy time, but there's a lot worse problems going on for a lot of people. So
everyone's always going to have their opinions. That's just how it is.
For sure.
But anything else before I let you go?
No, man. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it, especially during this time. If I don't have a fight coming up, I feel like I'm no good to anybody. So just the fact that you want to talk to me is pretty good. Appreciate it, man. I really do. And just everybody out there that's still doing everything that's essential, all the frontline people, even like my brother's up there. He works at an urgent care as a physical therapist, and he's going to work every day. And, they have had people in his clinic with it. And it's amazing to see what people go through just to take care of others and also to provide for their families. So just appreciate everybody out there and just hope everybody stays safe. It's a really tough time.
All right, Joe. Thanks. And I wish you the best of health for you and your family. And congratulations once again.
Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it. Great talking to you.
All right, yeah. Take care. Have a good one.
You too.